Story time about my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend. So a little background information. So his ex-girlfriend's parents, they owned a security company, which sold cameras, alarms, and a few other things. So at the end of 2019, my boyfriend broke up with his ex-girlfriend. And by March of 2020, he started seeing me. And at first, we were just keeping things on the down low. Anyways, so after maybe 3 weeks of seeing my boyfriend, his ex sent me an Instagram message calling me a slut. It's the obsession for me. Anyways, what's even weirder is that she knew everything about my boyfriend and I, even the sexual things. Anyways, like I said, I thought that was really weird, so everything that she had sent me, I sent straight to him. Because I thought, obviously, that he had still been talking to her and had told her everything about us. But instantly, he gave me his phone and said go through it, and he had her blocked on everything. So even though it was weird, we moved on from that situation. Well, fast forward another 2 weeks, and his ex calls him while I'm at his house. Like for part 2. Part 2 about my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend. So like I said, she had called him while I was over his house. And somehow she keeps figuring out things about our sex life and personal things that we had told each other. So my boyfriend and I got super suspicious, obviously. Then we started to think, and we noticed that everything that she was telling us were things that we had talked about in his bedroom. And things that we had done. So we ransacked his whole room looking for anything. And what do you know, I found a mini security camera and a microphone pointing out of his walk-in wardrobe directly towards the bed. We took it to the police and tracked it back to her. So it turns out she had used the hidden spare key, which his mom kept under the mat at the front door, which she had known about from when they dated. So she broke into his house, planted a security camera from her dad's business in his wardrobe. So we decided not to press charges because her parents and my boyfriend's parents were friends. So they just talked it out and decided to punish her in their own way. Story time, I had to go to jail because of my toxic ex-boyfriend. So a little background information. Him and I started dating right after high school. And this relationship was so fucking toxic. We would literally fight over the dumbest shit. So fast forward 4 years later, the one night he had his friends over and he wanted me to cook steak. I decided to cook chicken instead. And this is what triggered the entire fucking fight. He was saying things like, you never listen to what I say, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife type of shit. So he pretty much blew up and was like trying to kick me out of our house. He went to our master bedroom, started breaking all my shit, throwing it down the stairs. And his friends left me there with his crazy ass. So I tried to get him to stop, but he wouldn't, of course. So then he ended up calling his fucking sister, who is 10 years older than me, trying to get her to come to my house and kick my ass. I never really got in a fight like this, so I decided to call 911. She heard him in the background going crazy like for part 2. Part 2 of why I had to go to jail because of my toxic ex-boyfriend. So like I said, the dispatcher on the phone could hear him in the background going absolutely fucking psycho. So she told me to hide. I ran upstairs into the master bedroom and locked the door until they came. So they interviewed us separately. And he has the nerve to start fucking crying, saying that I was beating his ass, and he even fucking scratched himself. So even though I called 911, they said in a domestic dispute they had to take somebody to jail. And since he had visible marks on him, they took me to jail. So the police officer told me to take off all my clothes and to only wear one layer and to also take out my shoelaces before he brought me in. So they booked me in jail, put me in a freezing cold fucking cell with 25 other actual bad bitches for 7 hours. And this is the best part. My ex kept trying to call and get me out the whole time I was in there, saying that he lied and everything. They set a court date for me, but when I showed up, they literally just dropped all the charges. Now I just tell everybody that I've been to jail and I'm not scared to go back. Storytime about one of the most embarrassing things that has ever happened to me in high school. So a little background information. I was in my freshman year of high school. Well, spring break was coming up. Well, the whole year, my friend and I hadn't been to one single party. So we decided that we wanted to try and go to a party every single day of spring break. Which was about to be super difficult because we had to worry about my strict-ass parents and my neighbors. A little background info on my neighbor. My neighbor is this girl who's in my same grade and she literally hates my guts. I don't know why, but literally anything that I do, she'll go and she'll tell her mom and then her mom will tell my mom. Because my mom and her mom are best friends. But before we know it, Saturday comes around. And we go back to school on Monday. We did not make it to one single party. Well, later that night, we found out that one of our friends was throwing one. So around 11 o'clock, everybody's sleeping, and I walk out my back door, hop over my fence, and I start heading towards the road where my friend was going to be parked. You know, who do I see fucking sitting outside on their porch reading a fucking book? My fucking neighbor, like for part 2. Part 2 about the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in high school. So like I said, the bitch that I hate is sitting out on her porch reading a fucking book at 11 o'clock at night. So I crouch down so she couldn't see me. I run to the car and my friend and I finally go to the party. Well, we get to that party and it's really boring, so we decided to go to a different one. And the party that we were about to go through was being thrown by the kid that I really liked. So I start hanging out with him when we get there. I'm drinking a lot, having so much fun, and I really have to go to the bathroom. And I didn't know where anything was at all, so I grabbed my friend and we're looking around everywhere for the bathroom. Because when I asked him, he was super drunk and really couldn't explain to me where the bathroom was. So we were pretty much left to fend for ourselves. But we ended up not being able to find a bathroom, and this is where I had to improvise. So my friend and I go to the laundry room, and we see the litter box in there for the cat. Well, at this point, I was desperate, so I just went in the litter box. Well, 30 minutes later, the cops show up to the party. And everybody had to hurry up and leave because we did not want to get underages. Like for part 3. Part 3 about the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in high school. So like I said, I went in the litter box and then the cops showed up. We all ran because we didn't want to get underages. I was able to sneak back into my house without anybody knowing. But when I get to school on Monday, everybody's talking about the party. And apparently the kid that I liked who threw the party, his parents didn't know that he threw one at all. And this was like during first period. So I went to text him and ask him if he was grounded because we were supposed to hang out the next day. And I realized that I am blocked. So I'm thinking, what the fuck? Why does he have me blocked? So I told my friend that he blocked me. And she goes, it's probably because he saw what you did in the laundry room. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's no fucking way that he knows. Because there was a door that led to the outside in the laundry room, there were cameras in there. So everybody saw this video of me. People were posting it on their Finstas, posting it on their Snapchat stories. It was so fucking embarrassing. Not to mention the bitch that I hate who lives next door showed my parents the fucking video and I was grounded for fucking 4 months. Story time about the boy who pretended to like me to get closer to my best friend. A little background information. It was the summer before my freshman year of high school, and my best friend and I got bored of hanging out with the same people, so we got a membership to a new pool. And this one was closer to one of our rival schools, so a lot of people that we didn't know went there. Well, the one day while we're there, we meet this group of boys. And by the way, my friend is super pretty. Like, all the guys immediately gravitate towards her, and I'm kind of like the duff, aka designated ugly fat friend. Anyways, while she's over there talking to all the boys, I'm sitting down at one of the tables. And one of the boys from the group comes over to me and starts talking to me. And he was being super sweet. And then he's like, oh, I don't know why all of them are over there talking to her. Like, she's not even that pretty. He was like, to be honest, you're way better looking than her. Now listen, I know I might seem like a bad friend for this, but I never had that male validation before. So that kind of made me feel good. Well, fast forward, his best friend and my best friend start dating, like for part 2. Part 2 about how this guy used me to get with my best friend. Like I said, they started dating. The boy that I was talking to at the pool, we're gonna call him Luke. Well, Luke's best friend was dating my best friend. Fast forward 2 months, Luke's saying how he wants to date me and stuff like that, but it's not the right time. And every time that I would ask Luke to hang out, he would only hang out if my best friend was there. Red motherfucking flag alert, bitch. Anyways, I didn't see that red flag. So Luke and his best friend go to this party. And apparently I was told that there was this girl there that was really hot. And Luke was saying to his best friend, oh, you should hook up with her. She's totally into you. Your girlfriend won't find out because she doesn't even know any of the people at this party. So he hooks up with the girl there. Then Luke calls me and says, OMG, like he cheated on your best friend. So I immediately call my best friend to tell her. And because she likes to talk to Luke about all her problems, she calls him. So he goes over there to comfort her. I didn't hear anything from them till a week after. My best friend posted him on her story and goes, my new boo. Story time about my shitty ass ex-boyfriend. So a little background information. My ex and I have been dating for about 2 years. And throughout those 2 years, he was a dick. He would cheat on me, talk to other girls more than me, but of course I pretended that everything was perfect in my relationship. I would brag to all these people about how my relationship was so good, blah blah blah, and everything else. Because it's embarrassing whenever bitches can talk shit because your relationship is very toxic. Like, listen to this bullshit. The whole 2 years we were dating, I had over 10 girls DM me on Instagram saying that they screwed my boyfriend at his house. I never confronted him about it. I was just one of those girls that cared way too much about what everybody else thought. Okay, now fast forward. And it was a Friday at school, and Thanksgiving break was the following day. And him and I have this whole plan to spend the whole break together, because literally a week before that, he was on vacation in North Carolina for 2 whole weeks. Well, instead of going with him after school, I decided to go home, get an overnight bag like for part 2. Part 2 about my shitty ex-boyfriend. So like I said, the original plan was for us to go together to his house after school. But I was like, I'm going to be spending the whole week over there. I should probably pack some clothes and get a shower. So after school, he drove me to my house. And he said that his parents wanted to have dinner together, so he had to go back to his house. And he would pick me up later. So when I got to my house, I got ready and everything, blah, blah, blah. And by this time, it was like 8 o'clock. Well, I kept texting and calling him, asking him where he's at, if he's coming to get me still. Then I realized that none of my text messages were going through. So then I go to text him on Snap. And what do you know? I couldn't find him on there. And then I call him off my mom's phone. He answers the phone and hangs up right away. Well, we were supposed to have a little party at his house too, that all of my friends were going to. So I texted every single one of them. None of them answered the phone. And I remembered that my one friend had shared her location with me before. So I went and looked at her location and where was she at? My boyfriend's house. So while I sat at home crying that whole week, he was throwing parties and cheating on me with my friends. And when we went back to school, he acted like we were never in a relationship.